This is a tutorial for opening and saving data in Excel. To open any Excel file, and these are going to be files with .xls or .xlsx in Excel, simply double-click on the file. This is a sort of typical data set you might encounter, and you'll notice the first row are the variables. So we have an ID, a gender, classification, height, and the rest of the rows are the actual data points. So for instance, individual 1 is male, a senior, and has a height of 67.75 inches. And some of these values are text and others are numeric. You can format an individual cell by clicking on it, right-clicking, and selecting Format Cells. We see a number of options in terms of how to format a given cell. We can change it to a number, and we can adjust the number of decimal places up or down. We can change it to currency, to date, and there are various options for date. Time, again, also various options. Percentage, fraction, scientific, etc. Now you'll notice that the column width actually cuts off the names for some of our variables. And we can remedy that very easily by simply double-clicking on the right-hand margin of the column of interest. So for this column M, we double-click on the right-hand margin, and it extends the column width to match the length of the variable name. And we can do that again for column T. Double-click on the right-hand margin, and the column width expands. Now the first step before doing any analyses is to create a duplicate of the data set. And the first thing you want to do is create a separate spreadsheet. And the way you can do that is click on the plus sign in the lower left-hand corner. That will open a new blank spreadsheet in which you can copy the original data. To copy the data, you first want to select it. And the easiest way to select all of the data is to click the upper left-hand corner of the spreadsheet. That'll select all of the data. Hit Command-C to copy. You can also click on Edit and go to Copy. Either will work. Move to the new spreadsheet. Click Command-V to paste, or again, go to the Edit menu and select Paste. And you now have a duplicate of the original data. Now the reason you want to do this is because you'll be manipulating data, you'll be sorting it, you'll be doing various things. And if you make a mistake, it's useful to have the original raw data set to refer back to. So let's say we want to create a name for this new duplicate of our data. To do that, we click on the Spreadsheet tab, double click, it'll turn blue, and we type in whatever name we want to assign to this. So in this case, new data. Hit return. We've now named that new spreadsheet. So it's often the case in labs for this course that you actually won't be doing anything with the data set as a whole, but specific columns, specific variables. And again, you're going to want to move these variables. You're going to want to copy them to a new spreadsheet before doing any analysis or any descriptive statistics. So for instance, let's say we're interested in the gender and height data. Well, to copy this, we first select gender, hold down Command, and select the height column. We can now do Command-C to copy and paste it into our blank spreadsheet. If we wanted to select a series of columns, for instance, classification through birth order, we can do this in a couple of ways. One is to select classification, column C, and drag over to column H, birth order. That will highlight all intervening columns. And then we can use Command-C to copy and Command-V to paste. Another way is to select column C, hold down Shift, and select column H. Again, you see that it copies all the intervening columns. Now let's say we want to manipulate our data prior to analysis. For instance, let's say we want to convert height from inches into feet. Well, the first thing we should do is create a column name, say height in feet. Now to convert this value from inches into feet, the first thing we want to do is select the cell next to it, type an equal sign, because we're going to enter in a function, and then select the value we want to convert. So that puts in this cell B2 in place. We now want to use the divide sign and type in 12 and return to convert to feet. So we've now converted this value from inches to feet. Now we want to repeat this operation for every row. And there are a couple of ways to do that. The first way is to select the value that we just calculated and then select the box in the lower right-hand corner. We can now drag down the column and it will repeat the operation for each row. Another way to do this, and I'm going to undo what I just did, is to simply double-click on that lower right-hand box. We double-click on that, double-click on that, it repeats the operation. Now this latter method will only repeat the operation up to the point where there is any missing data. So if you have any missing data, you need to be careful about using that latter approach and make sure after you run it, you check your column values to make sure that they make sense.